Hi everyone. Today we are going to see the Victorian age. It was glorified as a era of peace and prosperity. Yet Queen Victoria, after her reigning, she had met some troubles, which we are going to see one by one now. And what we will discuss under Queen Victoria's era is a list. And let's see the first three topics today. The famous English critic Lytton Strachey has told the history of the Queen Victoria will never be written because we know too much about it. Yes, there are lot of things happened during her era, and there are too many books and movies about the era. And let's get into one by one. On 20th June 1837, when she was only 18-year-old, when she woke up from her bed in Kensington Palace, it was told to her by Lord Chamberlain and the Archbishop of Canterbury that she had become the Queen of England. After assuming this responsible office, at the earlier age, so tender age, Queen Victoria became more popular among all the other British monarchs. And she was loved by everyone and affectionately called Grandmama. She was counseled and assisted first by her husband, Prince Albert. And before that, at the time of reign, she was guided by Prime Minister Lord Melbourne. She was the daughter of Prince Edward, who is the son of King George III, and Princess Victoria. Her reign was more successful just because by the able and sagacious prime ministers like Robert Peel, Palmerston, Gladstone, and Disraeli. It was her good fortune to preside over some of the epoch making events in the history of mankind. She had reigned for a long period of time, yes, for 64 years, and she has witnessed the introduction of most advanced scientific techniques and instruments and devices. The affection she had won was so great that all the three jubilees of her coronation were celebrated with spontaneous enthusiasm in all over her empire. Finally, when she died at the age of 83 on 22nd January 1901, the whole world mourned for her death. Next, let's see what is the Chartist movement. The early part of her rule, as I told, was full of troubles, but she had that able prime ministers who handled them very well, and even though it disturbed the peace of the country, she could manage it. The first movement which disturbed the peace was the Chartist movement or Chartism. It was a movement which was established to increase the rights of the people, because the root cause of this movement is there was a gulf of differences between the haves and the have nots. We could see the people with high richness and people who are all disadvantaged of acclaiming the resources of the nation. When the nation as a whole was wealthy, a lot of working class people were still suffering and their life was miserable. This situation was exploited by some of the well intentioned revolutionary men like Fergus O'Connor. After organizing a number of associations all over the country regarding this, he drew up a charter called the People's Charter. He has presented the charter in the form of a cylinder of 4 feet diameter on 12th July 1839. The Whigs as well as the Tories were shocked to witness and hear about the demands. So they unanimously turned it down. Let's see what are the six demands of the People's Charter. The first one is universal suffrage, that is, the right to have voting ability. And second one, the voting should be carried out by ballot method. And thirdly, annually, regularly, the parliament should be conducted. There should be a gathering of all the members periodically in every year. Fourthly, the members of the parliament should be paid. Fifthly, in order to select the members of the parliament, the British government has some criteria. The criteria is based mainly on the property qualification of the members. They have set some yardstick to measure their property and eligibility for becoming a member of parliament or for the nomination of the parliament. So this property qualification should not be the yardstick for measuring the qualification of the member of parliament. Sixthly, equal electoral districts should be allotted so that they can take members equal in number from one zone. Though these demands seem to be uh, intelligible, it was not at all accepted. So, stern steps were taken by the government to put down the violence in many parts of the country. The poor people started agitated, but the leaders of the movement were arrested by the government and they imprisoned them, and even they were transported to many distant places. Apparently the movement was a failure, but in course of the time the six demands were considered one after another. And next we can see the Anti-Corn Law League. It has been a headache to the administrators of England in the first half of the 19th century. Right from the beginning of the 18th century, corn laws were passed from time to time in order to encourage English literature, English agriculture. It was first passed in 1815 after the Napoleonic Wars. Let's see what is the corn law. After the Napoleonic Wars, there was the huge accumulation of the army of unemployed. The swelling population of the people from working class, from army to the unemployed, resulted in low wages. Or the inability of the people to meet their daily expenses. The 20 years of war has impeded the import of European corns. British people used to refer all types of grains, wheat, oats, barley, everything as corn. So there won't be, for 20 years of war has prevented importing all kinds of corns to England. So the prices of the corns went high. It was enjoyed by the agricultural lords, but after the peace, after the war, after the restoration of the peace, there was a down in the price of English corns. So the agriculturalists insisted the government to pass corn law with the administration of Prime Minister Liverpool. Corn law was passed in which no import of corns, if there is an import of corns from foreign countries, there will be a high tariff paid. This high tariff levied. So the people with lower wages suffered a lot during famine, and this time, in order to eradicate the sufferings of these people, the first anti-corn law league was founded in 1839. Its leader was the benevolent Richard Cobden, the son of a Sussex farmer, and he wants to mobilize the idea to the public. So there were many public opinion meetings held in order to create awareness about the sufferings of the poor people. And its appeal was to cancel the corn law. And the introduction of Irish potato crops in 1845 met in a failure. So the Prime Minister, the benevolent humanitarian Prime Minister Robert Peel, who belonged to the Tory party, has repealed the Corn Law in 1846. She was expected to protect the interests of the agricultural landlords who insisted to pass Corn Law. But with such benevolent heart, he has cancelled the Corn Law, and it has infuriated the members of the parliament. They have voted him out of power. Peel fell never to rise again. Though he never occupied the ministerial chair again, he had, by his benevolent act, secured a good place in the heart of many common people of his time because he has mitigated their miseries. And let's see the glory of the Victorian age in the next videos. Keep watching. Thank you.